formal agreement when a woman agrees to carry become pregnant and deliver a child for another couple. There are two types, traditional, in which the surrogate mother is genetically the child's mother, and gestational surrogacy, in which the child is not genetically related to the mother. And there's two other forms, which is commercial surrogacy, in which the woman is paid, and there's altruism, in which they do it for free, usually like a family member or a close family friend. And then surrogacy has emerged as a controversial topic in the United States in the 1980s, in which it became really popular with the technology coming out. And then the use of surrogacy now is actually on the rise. From 2004 to 2008, it actually went up 89% within 4 years. So from 2004 to 2008, 738 babies, from 738 babies to nearly 1,400. And then most industrialized countries have rejected the practice of surrogacy, such as Australia, Canada, Denmark, France, Germany, Great Britain, Italy, Netherlands, Norway, Spain, Sweden, and Switzerland all have national laws that prohibit or discourage the practice. And then in the United Kingdom and Germany, you could actually it's actually a criminal act. And then countries that have legally recognized surrogacy actually clash. Legally recognized surrogacy illegally recognizes surrogacy has actually. Okay, surrogacy is banned in many countries, but not in the United States, in which every state actually has its own regulations. So some states have actually banned surrogacy altogether, while others have allowed with certain restrictions. Okay. There was actually one attempt to federally regulate surrogacy in the United States, which was actually in 1988, and after that, they didn't really do anything about it. And one thing is, abortion probably has a huge influence on the laws on surrogacy, especially in the United States. From Sarah Markins, and she wrote a book actually about surrogate motherhood and politics of reproduction. She says, in contrast, in the United States, there is no national level legislation regarding surrogate parenting arrangements. The lack of consensus in the United States and ambivalence it represents is thus singularly American and may be accounted for chiefly by two deeply ingrained national characteristics: our simultaneous exhaustion of individual rights and laissez-faire approach to the marketplace, and our protective stance towards families. And additionally, likely influence is the contentiousness of abortion politics in the United States. So believe this factor is largely responsible for the United States' overall lack of federal regulation in the area of assisted reproduction technology. Since abortion is like a very touchy topic, it kind of relates to surrogacy. And then in California, we do accept surrogacy agreements, upholds agreements that include lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender individuals. While the state has no statute directly addressing surrogacy, California courts have used state's Uniform Parentage Act to interpret several cases concerning surrogacy agreements. And another problem with surrogacy is that since there's no overall law for it, states are actually very slow in responding to problems with surrogacy. As of 2000, a judge in Pennsylvania, one of the many states still without legislation, has specifically this from the same book by Sarah Markin, specifically deals with surrogate parenting, ending a rule on gestational custody dispute. So mostly custody disputes, and they don't really do anything about it. They don't really like touching on the subject. And then surrogacy raises many ethical issues. Countries that have declared commercial surrogacy illegal usually cite ethical reasons for the decision. Some see paying for a surrogate mother as renting or buying the human body or the human life. Surrogacy actually goes against many religious beliefs. The Roman Catholic Church is actually one of the religious institutes that oppose surrogacy. It opposes all forms of surrogacy, even altruistic surrogacy, which you don't pay for. It holds that surrogacy violates the sanctity of marriage and spiritual connection between mother, father, and child. Commercial surrogacy turns the miracle of human birth into financial transaction. The church maintains reducing the child and the mother bearing it to objects of negotiation and purchase. It turns women into reproductive machines and exploiters of children. The church argues that Surrogacy also leads to confused parent-child relationships that ultimately damage the institution of a family. And surrogacy is actually compared to prostitution in a way. In both cases, one can view the women as selling physical, intimate bodily services, selling their bodies for the function of money. Surrogacy turns babies into commodities. Normally, the child is the end goal of the pregnancy. For a surrogate mother, the child becomes a means, as a distinct from the goal, from something else, mostly money. When a child becomes a means, the child is commoditized. And then surrogacy is for the wealthy. It actually costs a lot of money for you to actually get a surrogate mother. You have to go through a broker, usually pay for the medical bills and stuff. So most of them are from middle class, upper middle class, from wealthier backgrounds. And the women that become surrogate mothers are usually from a lower income family where they want to make the money.